Welcome to the Eat This Book podcast. I'm Michael Whitworth. Each day we take a small piece of scripture and we sit with it. Not a quick snack that disappears before lunch, not a chore you check off of a list, but rather a meal meant to be savored. So pull up a chair. Let's eat. 20 years is a long time to live in someone else's house. Jacob arrived at Laban's with nothing, a fugitive from his brother's rage, sleeping on stones, carrying only the blessing he'd stolen. Now he's wealthy. Flocks and herds, servants and children, 2 wives and 2 concubines and 11 sons. He's built an empire while living under Laban's roof. But it's never been his roof, and lately he's been noticing how Laban's sons look at him. Their faces have changed. The warmth is gone. They mutter among themselves that Jacob has taken everything from their father, that all his wealth came from what belonged to Laban. It's not true, exactly. Jacob worked for everything he has. He earned it through 20 years of labor, through schemes and counter-schemes, through striped sticks and selective breeding, and the blessing of a God who keeps his promises. But truth doesn't matter when resentment sets in. Laban's sons see their inheritance shrinking, and they blame Jacob. Even Laban's face has changed. The uncle who once embraced him, who called him bone and flesh, who made deals and broke them and made new ones, that man no longer looks at Jacob the way he used to. The welcome has worn out. It's time to go. Then the Lord speaks, "Return to the land of your fathers and to your kindred. I will be with you." It's the first time God has spoken directly to Jacob since Bethel, 20 years ago. The same God who promised to be with him, to keep him, to bring him back. That God now says the word Jacob has been waiting to hear. Go home. The exile is over. The land of your fathers is waiting. Jacob calls Rachel and Leah out to the field, away from the house, away from listening ears. What he's about to propose is dangerous. He needs to know if his wives will come. He lays out his case. Your father has cheated me. He's changed my wages 10 times. When he said the speckled would be my wages, all the flock bore speckled. When he said the striped would be my wages, all the flock bore striped. God has taken your father's livestock and given them to me. Then he tells them about the dream. An angel spoke, identifying himself as the God of Bethel, commanding Jacob to return to the land of his kindred. Jacob is making his pitch, but he's also being honest. This isn't just strategy. God has spoken. The time has come. The sisters' response reveals how broken their relationship with their father has become. Is there any inheritance left for us? Are we not regarded as foreigners? He sold us and devoured our money. Sold us, devoured our money. Rachel and Leah understand what happened. Their father traded them for labor. 14 years of Jacob's work, and Laban kept it all. No dowry set aside, no inheritance preserved. Laban consumed the bride price that should have been theirs. Their father used them as currency, and they know it. All the wealth God has taken from our father belongs to us and our children, they say. Whatever God has told you to do, do it. Let's go. We have nothing left here anyway. So Jacob rises. He sets his sons and wives on camels. He drives away all his livestock, all the property he's gained, and he flees. The word is deliberate. He doesn't depart. He doesn't leave. He flees like a fugitive, like a man escaping. Laban has gone to shear his sheep, 3 days away. Jacob takes advantage of the absence. He gathers everything and everyone, and he runs. But Rachel does something Jacob doesn't know about. She steals her father's household gods, the teraphim, small figurines probably representing ancestral deities or family spirits. They may have been connected to inheritance rights. They may have been objects of worship. They may have simply been valuable. Why does she do this? Well, the text doesn't say. Maybe she wants insurance, something of her father's to hold on to. Maybe she still believes in these gods and can't leave them behind. Maybe she's striking back at a father who sold her like property. Or maybe Rachel, like Jacob, is a schemer. Like husband, like wife. She sees something she wants, and she takes it. 3 days pass before Laban learns that Jacob has fled. He gathers his kinsmen and pursues. 7 days of hard travel. He catches up with Jacob in the hill country of Gilead, far from home, but not far enough. But the night before Laban reaches Jacob, God intervenes. He comes to Laban in a dream with a warning. Be careful not to say anything to Jacob, either good or bad. A divine restraining order. Whatever you're planning, Laban, whatever accusations, whatever violence, whatever demands, be careful. I'm watching. God is protecting Jacob even before Jacob knows he needs protection. Laban catches up and he's furious. What have you done? You've tricked me, driven my daughters away like captives. Why did you flee in secret? I would have sent you off with celebration, with music, with tambourines. The audacity is breathtaking. Laban, the great deceiver, the man who switched daughters on the wedding night, who changed wages 10 times, who tried every scheme to keep Jacob poor, accuses Jacob of trickery. And he claims that he would have thrown a party. No one believes this. Not Jacob, not Rachel and Leah, not even Laban, probably. But he says it anyway because that's what manipulators do. They rewrite history. They cast themselves as the wounded party. He plays the grieving grandfather. You didn't let me kiss my children farewell. And then lets slip the threat barely veiled. It is in my power to do you harm. He has the men. He has the numbers. He could have taken back the flocks, the wives, the children. He could hurt Jacob badly. But the God of your father spoke to me last night, warning me to be careful. The only thing restraining Laban is divine warning. Left himself, he would have done violence. God's dream is the only reason this confrontation doesn't end in blood. But Laban has one more accusation. Why did you steal my gods? Jacob doesn't know about Rachel's theft, so he answers with confidence and makes a terrible vow. Search everything, take back whatever is yours, but anyone with whom you find your gods shall not live. He doesn't know he's just pronounced a death sentence on his beloved wife. Laban searches tent by tent, through Jacob's belongings, through Leah's quarters, through the servants' spaces, nothing. And then he enters Rachel's tent. Rachel has hidden the household gods in a camel's saddle. She's sitting on them. When her father comes to search, she doesn't rise. Let not my lord be angry that I cannot stand. The way of women is upon me. It's her period. A condition that would make her ritually impure, and the saddle she's sitting on impure as well. Laban won't touch it. He won't ask her to move. The deceiver's daughter has out-deceived him. It's a darkly comic moment. Laban, the great schemer, searching frantically for his gods, and they're right there under his daughter, and he can't find them. Rachel lies to her father's face, uses purity laws as cover, and gets away with it. The whole family lies. Jacob lied to Isaac, Laban lied to Jacob, now Rachel lies to Laban. Deception breeds deception, generation after generation. Laban finds nothing, and now Jacob has had enough. 20 years of frustration pour out. He finally says what he's been holding in. What is my offense? What is my sin that you've pursued me like this? You've searched everything I own. What did you find? Nothing, because I didn't take anything. And then Jacob recounts his service. 20 years, 14 for your daughters, 6 for your flocks. Your animals never miscarried under my care. I never ate your rams. What was torn by wild beasts, I bore the loss myself. You required it of my hand, whether stolen by day or by night. The heat consumed me by day, the cold by night, and sleep fled from my eyes. This is Jacob's testimony. 2 decades of faithful labor, scorching days and freezing nights, bearing losses that weren't his fault, working himself to exhaustion while Laban changed the terms again and again. The God of my father, the God of Abraham, and the fear of Isaac had not been by my side, you would have sent me away empty-handed. God saw my affliction and my labor, and last night he rebuked you. God saw, God acted, God rebuked. Jacob's prosperity wasn't theft, it was divine justice. Laban has no real answer. He blusters. The daughters are mine, the children are mine, the flocks are mine, everything you see is mine. But then he backs down. What can I do? He can't do anything. God has warned him. The flocks have shifted. The wives have chosen to leave. Laban is powerless, and he knows it. So he proposes a covenant. They gather stones and make a heap. They share a meal. They set boundaries. Laban calls the place Yeger Sedutha, Aramaic for heap of witness. Jacob calls it Galid, Hebrew for the same thing. 2 languages, 2 names, 1 pile of rocks marking the end of their relationship. And then comes the blessing that isn't quite a blessing. The Lord watched between you and me when we are out of one another's sight. Mizpah, the watchtower. We often use these words at the end of church services as a benediction or a warm sending off. But that's not what they mean here. This isn't affection. This is mutual distrust. May the Lord watch between us, because I don't trust you and you don't trust me, and the only thing keeping us honest is the knowledge that God is watching. It's a covenant of suspicion, a peace treaty between 2 schemers who know exactly what the other is capable of. They agree to terms. Jacob won't mistreat Laban's daughters. Neither party will pass this heap with hostile intent. God is witness. Early in the morning, Laban kisses his grandchildren and daughters, blesses them, and returns home. Jacob never sees him again. Here's what lingers from this passage. First, sometimes you have to leave, even when leaving is hard. Jacob had built a life in Padan Aram, 20 years of work, but it wasn't his home, and the welcome had worn out. God said go, and Jacob went. Staying too long in the wrong place can cost you more than leaving ever will. Second, God protects us in ways we don't see. The night before Laban caught up, God warned him in a dream. Jacob didn't know about that warning until Laban told him. Sometimes God is working on our behalf before we even know we need help. Third, confrontation can bring clarity. Jacob's outburst, his recounting of 20 years of faithful service, needed to be said. Sometimes the healthy thing is to finally speak the truth, to lay out the record, to stop swallowing the injustice. And fourth, broken relationships can end with boundaries instead of blood. Jacob and Laban didn't reconcile. They didn't become friends. I doubt they exchanged Christmas cards. But they didn't kill each other either. They built a heap, set terms, and went separate ways. Sometimes that's the best you can do with a toxic relationship. Not warmth, but walls. Not intimacy, but boundaries. The Lord watch between us. If you've been living too long in someone else's house, if you've been building someone else's empire while your own calling waits, this passage says, listen for the voice that says, return. Go home. Your Father's land is waiting. If you're dealing with a manipulator, someone who rewrites history, plays the victim, and accuses you of exactly what they've done, this passage says God sees. He saw what Laban did. He sees what's being done to you. And he knows how to restrain the hand raised against you. And if you have to leave a relationship that can't be fixed, if the only path forward is separation, boundaries, and a heap of stones, this passage says that's okay. Not every story ends in reconciliation. Some end with Mizpah. The Lord watch between us, because we cannot watch over each other. Jacob fled while Laban sheared sheep. Rachel stole the gods and sat on them. Laban pursued and found nothing. 20 years of grievances finally spoken. A heap of stones, a covenant of suspicion. And in the morning, Laban went home. Jacob never looked back. Next time on Eat This Book, Jacob is finally heading home, but the past is waiting for him. Esau is coming to meet him with 400 men. Is this reconciliation or revenge? Join me in Genesis 32 as fear rises, prayers are spoken, and Jacob prepares to face the brother he betrayed. Thanks for eating with me. Until next time, may the Word dwell in you richly.